The most insane key exploit in Sea of Thieves is back, and a lot of people know and love it, but even if you don't, you gotta learn about this. It's easy to do, you can do it solo, and it's extremely profitable. Before we get started, I'm currently trying to make it to 10,000 subscribers, and if you could help me get there, that would mean a lot to me. And as always, thank you for watching. I also really want to thank this commenter and the creator of this video, as the commenter led me to the video and the video helped me in making this video greatly. So thank you to both of them. In order to do this exploit, you of course first want to put up your gold hoarder emissary flag if you're looking to do maximum profit here. Next, you are going to have to head to the crooked masts in the wild. I'm sure this exploit works other places, but for now, this is the place I'm going to be doing it at, and that this is the only place I know it guaranteed works at. If you are far away from the crooked masts, I highly suggest that you dive to the Pendragon Tall Tale. It'll bring you up at Shipwreck Bay, and then you can cancel the Tall Tale and go. You'll be one island away. So that's probably the quickest way to get there if you're far away, and it'll just save you some time. Once you arrive at the crooked masts, you need to vote for a gold hoarder medley voyage. And what you're going to look for is you're going to look for the golden wayfinder to be pointing at crooked masts right at the island and vibrating, indicating that the first map piece is on this island. There's also a rare chance for you to get lucky and to have other quests within the medley spawn on the same island and get even more loot, but I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. If the golden wayfinder is pointing towards the island, you're going to want to go ahead and dig up the map piece. So you're going to go to it, wait till it starts spinning, dig up the map piece on crooked masts. This is your first of many of opportunities to get loot. When you dig up this first map piece, make sure to kill the skeletons that come out with it, as they have a good chance to drop some valuables that you would not want to miss out on. After you dig up the first map piece for the Vault Key Voyage, one of two things is going to happen. You will either see that the map for the key is on crooked masts or it's not. However, in my experience, it was on crooked masts about 70 to 80% of the time. And if it is crooked masts, you're going to be able to dig up the gold hoarder chest containing the key. And if you've seen previous versions of this exploit, you may be thinking to yourself, well, that's going to take forever because this is a much bigger island. But I assure you there are some things you can do to help that I'm going to go over in just a second. If you don't get a key map for crooked masts that's on some other island, all you have to do is repeat the process. Just vote for the voyage again until you get the golden wayfinder pointing at the island and go dig up the map piece again. And that really isn't even a loss, seeing as you still have the opportunity to get the loot from the map piece skeletons and you could still be making profit. So, either way, at this point, you have the ability to dig up the chest. You know that it's on crooked masts, and there's a few things that can happen. In the best case scenario, the map piece that you get has the X marks the spot on it, and you can just dig it up. But obviously, since there's 6 map pieces, that's only going to happen like 15 to 20% of the time, and it may not even happen that often, so you don't want to have to rely on that. If that doesn't happen, you can look at the map pieces you have, and if they show some of the island and the X isn't on it, you can deduct that those pieces of the island do not have the X marks the spot on it, and then only check the areas that aren't shown on the map. And even if you get a map piece that was barely even enough to identify that it was on the island, it doesn't really show anything other than a rock or two, don't worry, because you can still dig around this entire island and find it in under 5 minutes. Now, I know that sounds crazy because this island, like I said, is much bigger than previous islands used for this exploit, but a lot of this island is undiggable rock and vertical surfaces that the chest can't spawn on. So if you just dig around, you take a few steps and dig, take a few steps and dig, and you're not too particular, you don't have your holes too close together, and you're not forgetting to go up to the top of crooked masts, like I said, you should be able to find this easily in an average time of 5 minutes, and that's with me solo. If you have multiple people, you should be getting this thing super fast. So don't let the fact that it's a big island freak you out. It's going to be okay. It's going to still be very quick. But other than the vault keys and the skeleton loot, you still have another rare opportunity for even more loot from this exploit. On the rare occasion, and it normally happens on the first time you vote for the quest, but it can technically happen any of the times you vote for it. You will see that other quests such as the X marks the spot or the riddle within the medley voyage will also spawn on the crooked masts. So whether that's a riddle or an X marks the spot, you can do these for extra loot as well, and I would definitely recommend it because you're right there. Why would you not? I also recommend that if you're resetting your voyage because maybe the first map piece wasn't on that island or anything, or the key map wasn't for crooked masts, that you check the other voyages and make sure that they weren't a crooked mast voyage, because you could still do those and get them. You're already there, you might as well. So even if you don't get the map piece, you may get something else there. I'm going to show you guys a demo of me doing this just so you can see where the chests were spawning for me, what the exploit should look like, the challenges that come with it, and about how long it took me and all of that kind of stuff. And stick around till the end because I will be showing how much potential there is for you to make profit off of it and how much I made off of it. To start, normally you should put up your emissary flag, but I already had a grade 5 from playing earlier that session, so I just went ahead and went to the next step. I was decently far away and at an outpost, so I went ahead and voted to dive to the Pendragon Tall Tale, and then once I was there, I canceled the Tall Tale and headed to Crooked Masts. I parked on the west side of the island where I would easily be able to harpoon my loot, and I suggest that you do the same. And then I voted for my first medley quest. On my very first vote, I was able to get both the Golden Wayfinder on this island and an X marks the spot void on this island, which was huge to start this exploit off. I first dug up the map piece, and I also got 2 vestiges of power from the skeletons that came up with the map piece, which was already profit, and I was super psyched about it. I then confirmed that the key map was for Crooked Masts, and I was also able to see that it wouldn't be on one of the corners of the island, so I could rule out even checking that corner at all. And then I just started digging in the very middle of the island to start, and I found some of the X marks the spot chests, and I also found my key in under a minute of me actually starting to dig. I repeated this about 4 more times, and only 1 time did I get a key map that was for another island, so it doesn't happen very often, and it was really nice to not have to keep resetting it. It could happen, but it doesn't happen often. I also only had it happen once where the medley voyage didn't bring me to this island, so that also, while it is possible, doesn't seem super likely or something that you should have a problem with. I will note that 50% of my chests were in this top area, and that could have just been a lucky thing, but just do not forget to check up there and check around the pillars, any of the sand spots that you can dig on this island, or at least keep it in mind if you're going to do the bottom part first and you can't find it down on the base layer of the island, just keep in mind that it could be up there a little higher. After finding 4 keys, some vestiges of power, and a few of the regular chests from the X marks the spot voyage, I decided to head to the nearest outpost to sell what I had done in that short amount of time. From leaving my starting outpost to me hitting the log off button, everything sold, everything like that, it was only 20 minutes for this exploit. And in that amount of time, I made about 80k and about 2.25 levels for Gold Hoarder. But I do want to mention a few things. This was my first time trying the exploit, and so with more practice, it could definitely be much more efficient. I was also solo, which slowed it down a little bit, especially when it came to digging them up, and that still didn't take long. And this estimate includes all of my sailing, selling, and logging on and off time, which means that if you were doing it for longer, you will lose less time relative to how long you're doing the exploit. So if you did it for an hour and then it's only going to take you 10 minutes to sell and stuff like that, you're losing a lot less time, and the exploit's going to be more efficient per hour that you do it. That being said, per hour, I would have made about 250k and about 6 levels. I'm guessing that with practice and a team though, you could easily double that, if not more. So I'm going to say that the profit potential for this, if you're at emissary grade 5, you and your team are pretty experienced players, and you were just at the top of your game that day, that you're probably looking at 500k or even upwards of 500k an hour and about 10 to 12 levels, of course, depending on what level you are. Making this exploit one of the really good ones, and because it has so many different ways to make loot within this that just make it really good, this has got to be one of my favorites, so hopefully it sticks around for a while. If you guys think I missed something or you know of an exploit that you can share with me, then please let me know in the comments below. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm currently trying to make it to 10,000 subscribers, and I am so close. So if you could help me get there, that would mean a lot to me. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I do truly appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.